Lap 27 of 53. I've been stuck behind Jason Brophy for a few laps trying to find a way by. Here's how it happened. I wasn't sure if he was going to lock it down. Glad we made it through. Here are your 30-second race highlights. Round 6 of the 2021 Lionheart IndyCar Series took place at Mid-Ohio. The field size was slightly smaller than normal, with top names such as Sage Karam and Connor Harrington absent from competition. Instead, up front it was Joshua Trinh who controlled the field en route to his first victory of the season. Ryan Otis made some moves and came across the line in second, while Aaron Morgan made it to the stripe in third despite some late pressure from behind. And one of those drivers applying a lot of pressure to the podium finishers in the closing laps was our points leader, Adam Blocker, who came home in fourth place. But Adam, you were racing all the way from Indianapolis. How are things going this week for you?
Uh, it's been a really hectic week. Long days at the track every day. And then obviously, for those that don't know, I'm the engine engineer for Simona, and we were right in all the bump day drama, both days, and it was pretty stressful for everybody involved, including me, because even though the engine guy is not necessarily going to make the difference in terms of getting the car in the field, you can certainly, there's a lot of things I could do to mess it up. So yeah, but fortunately everything, went okay, and we're in the show. And then I just, Wednesday I got back from the track at like 8:30. Got to Carrie Bettenhausen's place in the simulation, which she's grateful enough to help me out and give me a place to race from. And yeah, I just had an hour or two to warm up on his rig and race. And yeah, it was a fun race, like Mid Ohio, and was able to get a decent, result, which I was happy with. I felt like I could have probably done better if I had qualified better, but at the end, fourth is pretty good.
Yeah, well, I remember I was in the 8 o'clock practice session ahead
Yeah.
of a broadcast, and Mid Ohio, the tires were so cold for a couple of laps that I remember you came out of the pits for a couple laps on cold tires. My tires were warm. I'm like, I'm keeping up with Adam Blocker. I have good pace here, and then I think your tires caught on, and you showed what you could do when the race came around. A fourth place finish. Most drivers would say, "Hey, I'm really happy with this." But for you, you started the season with a first, a second, and second. You tend to perform very well on road courses. All things considered, are you satisfied with a fourth at Mid Ohio?
Yeah, considering the circumstances and limited practice, and just like even when the rig is really nice, like it is, it's any simulation, just anytime you're on a road course, you probably know it's like if you change your brake pedal and just having to get used to it is just really hard, even no matter how nice it is. So yeah, I'll take it. And really, like, my goal is just top five every race, because if you do that, then that's how you win a championship. So
Well, you've been doing that so far, but I
yeah,
notice Connor Harrington second in the points. I think he's got top five every race too, with the
yeah, I think he
exception.
has. Yeah,
Yeah, with the exception, of course, he wasn't here at Mid Ohio, so
yeah.
that gives you a bit of an advantage there. So you got a lot of competition this season as far as the championships going. We got Connor, we got obviously Sage Karam. He hasn't had the greatest start to the season, obviously, but I'm sure he's going to continue to be a threat. And who knows who could come on strong in the second half.
Yeah.
What's driving you? Because you've won the championship before multiple times. What's driving you to continue to put on and come out and do these performances? And second, but similar question: if you were to win the championship again this year, what do you think would make this one more special, stand out, perhaps from the others?
Well, I keep racing in Lionheart because it's fun. It being fixed setup kind of means that compared to some of the open setup stuff that I run, it's less preparation because I don't have to worry about the setup. I just have to drive. And yeah, it's just a relaxed environment with a bunch of good guys that put on good races. Really clean races. A lot of the ovals we have very few cautions. So yeah, that's the main reason I keep doing it, is just to have fun. But then obviously for me to have fun, I'm really competitive, so I want to win. Um, yeah, so that's naturally sort of how it goes. And then yeah, uh, really, I'm just always happy when I do the best that I can do. Even like, for example, in the new league that started up, ISOWC, I know I'm probably not going to win the championship there, but if I perform well every race, and just if I feel like I maximize my result for a given race and given championship, then I'm happy. It doesn't really necessarily matter what that is.
So kind of touching again on the second question, is there a best race or a best championship? You kind of, are there performances? Because you've had many wins. I'm curious as to which ones stand out in your mind.
Um, so every season's been different. So 2018, I started out really rough. Like I had a lot of issues early. Both me and Dan Guerin, who kind of us two and Andrew were the main contenders that season in the end. And Dan and I both had really bad starts. And then I kind of just pieced together a championship by getting a lot of wins, but being inconsistent. But I think 2019 is probably my favorite so far, just because I made very few mistakes all season, which is kind of normally my goal. But 2020 was special in its own way because there was the highest competition level to date, although you could argue that there's more this year for sure. But yeah, I mean, it was rough because I, wasn't in a great position most of the season, and then kind of got fortunate that Sage and Andrew made some mistakes, and I put together a really clean run at the end and won the championship. But yeah, I mean, I only won 2 races, so it was really just about consistency. It's kind of the opposite of some of the other championships, but.
Now, a lot of our viewers may not be aware of this, but you've actually started helping some drivers in the forums and in test sessions, giving us pointers. I know you've helped me a bit. And as someone that's selfish as myself, I know even when I'm running around at the back of a field, I don't want anyone to know my brake bias that I'm running. So what's kind of encouraged you to start, giving back a little bit to some of your competitors?
Well, honestly, I mean, part of it, I wanted to give back to the league a little bit because the league has given me a good amount, and I felt like I hadn't really given my share back to it. So I'm definitely going to be looking to do more of those sessions in the future as well. But I mean, the other thing is that it helps both people. So, like, I know, for example, our session, or just any of the sessions I was in, like having to explain concepts makes you think about the concepts more yourself and have to understand them better to teach people. And then also, I mean, yeah, just getting to talk with people and get new ideas. Like, I got to work with people from different skills. So there were some people like on the sharper end of the grid that I did sessions with, and in those sessions, it was more of a, back and forth helping each other situation. Like it was a little bit different dynamic. So I definitely got a lot out of it too. And it gave me a chance to reflect on some of my own driving and identify some areas that I can work on as well. So it was just fun too, also to get to know some of the guys better that I hadn't, previously talked with or met.
All right, so next race is, well, actually, it's in 1 week's time because we're releasing this about a week after Mid-Ohio here. We're going to Gateway. I'm going to say personally, I have a bit of a fond spot for it because I got a 3rd place here a few years ago by short pitting and faced Dan Gavin for the lead for a couple of laps. And then, and then quickly Dan Gavin said, yeah, no, not happening. What are your feelings heading into Gateway?
I think a lot of people are going to be in for a little bit of a surprise because it's going to race different than it has before, because previously we've run the full road course wings there, and now it's just single plane. So there's going to be a lot less downforce. And so I think it's going to race closer to what it does in real life, a little bit more like a short oval, which I like. I mean, I like Gateway, and I think I'm going to like that style of racing better. So yeah, I think it's going to be probably, a good race, and definitely be looking to, get another solid finish. Don't think there's any reason why, it's any different than any other race. So.
Yeah. For the records, Christopher ended up winning that race. Credit where credit's due. Well done, Chris.
But yeah, Gateway is one of his best tracks. Yeah.
Okay, good to know. I'll put that. Hey, speaking of advice, we got some viewers here who may or may not necessarily be Lionheart members. If someone's watching this video, you're a multi-time champion. I'm sure that they'd want to hear from you. There's like one piece of advice you could give even a rookie starting off in iRacing. What would you give them?
Yeah. I mean, kind of how I approach things is I always want to understand like the mechanics behind everything, but I'm also sort of a really analytical person. But yeah, I don't know. I think I would like on the technical side of things, I would advise them, like on the driving mechanics side of things, I would advise them to read and just look for different resources in the forums or from other members and talk to them about both driving and like the setup side of things, just to understand the cars and driving better. But from a starting out perspective, I think it's best to focus on one car and one discipline and then sort of branch out. Because if you focus on one car and start to get good at it, well, for one, it allows you to sort of go deep and like perfect your craft in one car. And then also you get some confidence and you get to actually like race competitively. And like, for example, for the first year and a half I was on iRacing, I mainly raced the Skip Barber and I specialized in it and kind of only did road racing. And then I knew I wanted to get to the IndyCar eventually, but it took a while. And then I also had to learn oval racing, but like, you don't want to jump straight into the IndyCar because it's a lot faster, a lot more technical. And then you have to learn road and oval. And it's just really easy to get lost when you're doing it. So I would definitely recommend starting with like a slower car and sort of specializing in it.
I'm sure a lot of people would find that helpful. Honestly, there's a couple tidbits there. I'm like, yeah, wish I'd done that about 5 years ago. So, well, I honestly, Adam, it was news to me that you were linked with Simona there. I know you help out in IndyCar. I'm a bit of a Simona fan. I will be watching at the Indy 500 this weekend. So I think I'm going to say it, and I'm going to say it for a lot of our viewers, saying that I hope that her performance goes well, and we'll be rooting for her. And we really appreciate you coming to talk to us, because I know you're in the thick of this championship title, and it's nice getting some thoughts from yourself.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I always enjoy racing you on track. You race really clean, obviously, because you're like the cleanest driver last year or year
It's
before.
never happened. No,
it's never happened.
I've always got like second. Yeah. There's I think.
Okay.
Brian Yazik got it last year. John Hill the year before that.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I can't.
Well, you deserved it at least one of those times. I know for sure, but yeah, okay.
We'll see. We've got to keep trying. All right. Well, I'll go for that. You go for the championship, and we'll let everyone enjoy their weekend and enjoy the Indy 500. And tune back in next Wednesday night for Lionheart from Gateway on Race Spot.